Here comes a new challenger!
Hello there everyone, and welcome to my 11.0 tier list. And in this one, we're just going to be covering characters that were buffed, characters that were nerfed, Pyra and Mythra, and maybe a few more. So let's just get right into it. If you want my thoughts on a majority of the cast, you can watch my 10.1 tier list or my 9.0 tier list, essentially. So just watch my previous tier list if you want to get an idea of what I think of the game and the characters currently. So in my opinion, just, but if you just want to get a quick summary, basically my opinion is there are a lot of really good characters in Ultimate, and that just makes like the characters that are mid-tier or low-tier just kind of stand out even more so. Like, it's kind of funny because like before it's the top tiers or high tiers that would stand out amongst the worst characters, but now it's just the worst characters that stand out because like there's so few of them. And the thing is that a lot of these characters are good in their own way. It's just that for the most part, these characters, while good, feel so much weaker in comparison to like these characters up here. Sure, it's like these characters could be good. These characters are like gooder, it's not a word, but you make up a word for them. Gooder, greatest, you know what I mean? So that's my basic opinion on the roster right now, is that these characters right here could use some help. Even some characters in high tier, which we'll get to, but yeah, so let's just talk about the characters that they didn't get any changes, but I want to talk about them anyways. And I mean, not much has really changed all too much. Primarily just the only one that I really want to talk about is Piranha Plant. I've been playing Piranha Plant a lot lately, and my opinion on the character has changed because the way I view Piranha Plant is that, yeah, Piranha Plant got like a few patches of buffs, but like when you really combine those buffs together, it really does help in a sense, like your views on the character. Because before I thought this character was like just mid-tier trash, but this character is actually really good in the right hands. And I feel that personally, the only, there are a few things Piranha Plant does need to be like for me to feel like Piranha Plant is a solid high tier. But overall, Piranha Plant I think is up there. I think Piranha Plant could be up here if maybe a better player would have played the character or whatever the case may be. But I do think Piranha Plant's actually strong compared to like the rest of these characters here. You know what I mean? But that's just because I've been playing that character for like a really long time, and I'm starting to see the potential. But we'll see. All right, let's get to the characters that were actually changed. Let's start with DDD. They just changed side B. Well, it does help at what DDD already does best. I mean, it didn't fix every other DDD's problem, so DDD stays there. Falcon and Ganon, it helps them in terms of recovery, but at the end of the day, Ganon's still gonna suck because he's slow, not really good neutral, terrible recovery, terrible disadvantage. Some hitboxes just don't work on the character. Falcon, still pretty good, arguably a top tier character, you could argue it, for sure. Character is mad fast, crazy combos, and now can recover at least low without the opponent purposely getting grabbed and attacking and hitting Falcon, right? Because like you could do that. You can even there's only like one character at this point that can actually just cheese out these characters, and ironically enough, it's Piranha Plant, because when Falcon or Ganon grab Piranha Plant, the Tui just falls right on them and they can't recover. It's great. But yeah, that's that. Let's talk about now. Let's talk about Byleth. So Byleth before was mid-tier, but the character's high tier now in my opinion. And for between the last patch and before this patch, I did start to raise my opinion up on Byleth for a while. I thought this character sucked, but now like over time I thought, okay, they have really good instant double jump combos that guarantee like 50%, right? And 50 to 70 is essentially kill percent for Byleth. Well, it does have kill setups and confirms. The only thing Byleth really struggles with is speed. And, some moves are pretty whack, like side B and stuff. But side B did get a buff. It's safer on shield, which is really good. Because most of the time when you use that move, you kind of use it as like a surprise tool, right? Like your opponent's trying to chase you, and then you go side B, and then they block it, and then it can still punish you for it because it was like minus 30. Yeah, there was push block and stuff, but it was easy to like get a grab in there. Now it's not, it's minus 18 on shield. That's really good, at least the tipper is. So there you go. But still, Byleth could use some buffs, but still having a faster up B means a better out of shield option, and you could combo off of it, and it's easier to combo from it after 50%, which is nice. And because they buff down air, if you get up B to down air at platforms, that thing kills it like 60 to 100 based on like the character's weight, or you know, it depends on how you hit the character, because if you hit them with the sweet spot, it kills later than it would if you hit with the sour spot. Crazy, I know, but that's just how it is. Byleth, really good character now. Really good, I think, so far. Could still use buffs, though. Could still use buffs. Then there's Pichu. Pichu, my opinions on Pichu really haven't changed. Yeah, Pichu got a better Nair, but just because Nair doesn't like clash with moves as much as it used to, I mean, I still don't see Pichu rising up the ranks. A lot of Pichu's moves that he uses a lot are kind of like they still have the damage increase, things like neutral B, back air, down smash, F smash, F tilt, you know, thunder. Like the moves that they decrease the damage on are basically either moves that Pichu didn't use too much, or they were things like up B, which actually did help, you know, because now up B isn't such a burden for movement. But still, it's in my opinion, it doesn't really make Pichu still the top tier that he is. Like, Pichu's just better, but you'd still play Pikachu over him. As for the characters that got nerfed, that's all about it, because I think that's really all the characters they have left. I mean, there was Wii Fit Trainer, but Wii Fit Trainer is still gonna camp you at ledge, so yeah, side B having less lag, it doesn't really mean much in my opinion, because Wii Fit mains aren't really gonna use that all too much, you know what I mean? I mean, they may, like if you catch the opponent off guard, right? If you have deep breathing, it's gonna hurt and it could possibly kill. But overall, I would say it's like, it jumps Wii Fit to like top tier. Though you could argue Wii Fit is a top tier to begin with anyways, because characters kind of whack. But, you know, that's up to interpretation. If you think Wii Fit's top tier, I don't blame you. If you don't, I don't blame you either. It's just how it is. That's just how the character is. You know, but some characters that got like minor buffs, like Steve or like Gunner, but I'm not really going to talk about those characters because like it doesn't really change my thoughts on them too much, you know what I mean? But moving on, let's go to the characters that got nerfed. Starting with Min Min, all it basically means is that you don't get crazy kill confirms like at like really low percent mid stage. That's all it really means. Laser doesn't kill that early mid stage, but it still kills relatively early ish. You know what I mean? At ledge. The thing is that Beefy Smash Dudes in their video, they showed the difference, but what they failed to show is that they showed it at 0, which looks like it has the same knockback. It's actually not. They reduced the knockback entirely. They just I think it was like something with their knockback growth, which basically means that at higher percents, Min Min's Dragon Arm laser won't do as much knockback as it used to. Yeah, that's basically how it works. If you didn't know that, well, there you go, now you do. Palutena, before I had Palutena at best of the game, but now I moved Palutena down here because I no longer think she's best of the game. Overall, she got nerfed in like 2 patches, one a while ago and this most recent one. It basically, for me, she's still an extremely good character, a character that anyone can get into as long as you have good, solid fundamentals. Character's good, what can I say? That's just how it is. The only way they can make this character bad is if they completely gut her, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon. Zero Suit, again, didn't get hit too hard. Character's still pretty much the same. You just can't use up B out of shield the same. Like, it's not as good, and Nair on shield's just not as good. You know what I mean? So yeah, stuff like that. And Joker, you know, I mean, Joker just got more lag on side B. Joker, you could argue with side B was kind of hurt because now you can't spam A-Hall neutral anymore as much as you used to. Now you can actually punish it, but you know, it's whatever. And counter having more lag, it's just basically hurting Jokers who would spam that counter all the time. It doesn't really change the character too much. The only character that really got hit, in my opinion, was Wario, because even though Wario, I still consider Wario top tier. I know Wario still has WAF confirms and all this sort of stuff. I know Wario has these things, but at this point, like, he's just worse Mario, right? He has worse frame data than Mario, similar game plan to Wario, and he's heavier, but weight, it doesn't mean everything, right? Because like Sephiroth's the top tier and he's light. So like Wario, like, Mario can get comebacks with a single platform. Wario just needed his waft, and even though, like I said, he has confirms, they're not as easy as like just soft up to waft, star spot, whatever, into waft. And waft itself is hard to combo into. So even though Wario sauce confirms, I wouldn't say the character's too crazy. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's talk about the main character, and then we'll go to best character of the game, being Pyra and Mythra. So just like with 10.1, I'm giving my early impressions on the character, and my early impressions are this. I think Pyra and Mythra separately, I would argue Mythra's a high tier, Pyra arguably mid tier, potentially high tier, but when you use them together, I think they're a very strong character. Those are my impressions so far, because everyone talks about Mythra. Crazy combos, gets you off stage, kills you, you know, frame data, speed, foresight. But Pyra has stuff too, you know. Yeah, Pyra doesn't have like things like foresight or whatever, but Pyra has better range, which means that on ledge, really good character. Edge guarding, I say, is much better for Pyra because it's longer lasting and bigger hitboxes that are off stage. Plus you have neutral B, which lets you float, literally kills everyone at like 80, regardless of what side they go on, because if they get hit like under battlefield, it's an untakeable, as an example. So, you know, Pyra and Mythra, they have, like, Pyra, I feel right now, you know, obviously it's, these characters are not even like 2 weeks old, I think, or like a month, 3 weeks, not even a month old, right? Characters are recent, but despite how recent the characters are, I feel like people are just underselling Pyra way too much and way too quickly. I don't think you can, like, you can use Mythra solo, sure, but to say Pyra's like useless or whatever, you're wrong completely. All right, I think you have to use these characters together in order to make it a real top tier. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion right now. My early impressions, maybe it'll change in the future, but right now I think the characters together is a very good contender for top tier, because you have Mythra speed, you have Pyra's power, you know, Mythra neutral, Pyra edge guarding and ledge trapping, Mythra's combos. You know, it's crazy what these characters can do. So that's all I'm saying for now. Those are my opinions on the characters, quick thoughts, and you know, I already put out my impressions of the characters, so if you want to watch that, go right ahead. But that's how I view Pyra and Mythra right now. However, we still have to answer the question, who is the best in the game? And I think objectively it's Pikachu, right? Because Pikachu is quick, small, amazing neutral, can camp, can play aggressively, has a bunch of kill confirms, 0 deaths on a lot of the characters in the game. Matchup chart is crazy for that character, right? Most matchups are either winning by +1 or +2, even, and like only some losing, even barely losing, you know what I mean? So but the thing that holds back Pikachu is difficulty, right? Trying to get into playing the character, right? If you want to play the character, there's a lot you have to keep track of and note down, essentially, when playing Pikachu. Like, it's not like the easiest thing in the world. For some matchups it is, right? Because like for Belmonts, for instance, it's just a bunch of back airs off stage and they die. Like, there's nothing they can do about that, and they're not going to really be able to hit Pikachu, for instance. So, you know, for Pika to have all these crazy things, objectively Pikachu's the best character in the game. But I'm looking for a way to kind of say what character I believe is kind of like subjectively the best character in the game. And before I would say it's Palu, but because Palu kept getting nerfed, right? It's just one of those things where it's like, once that character kept getting nerfed, well, yes, they're a very strong character. I don't consider them best in the game because, yeah, well, anyone can still get into them. I can't argue that you just win with them outright, you know, win with her outright. Whereas in my personal opinion, currently, I would think subjectively you could say Peach and Daisy are the best characters in the game. Because, well, you can make the argument that Pika, that those two characters are just as hard as Pika to get into. I'd argue otherwise. The thing about Peach and Daisy isn't that they're necessarily hard to master, they're just hard to learn. But once you learn their combos and all this sort of stuff, and how float works, and their max damage up, like their damage output with turn-ups and such like that, I think that once you start getting into the rhythm of how to play these characters, you're really gonna see how powerful they are. And I feel right now, currently, that they are the best in the game, because from a subjective standpoint, right, if you decide to like get into a character that's like really good, you know, yes, Peach and Daisy are hard to learn, but once you learn how to do float cancels consistently and all this sort of stuff, it's easy peasy, right? It's easy going from there. Like, you basically get free shield pressure, you get free damage off of any one hit, you have pretty good kill confirms, all things considered, pretty good edge guarding, you know, decent recovery. Overall, very strong character. So I think currently Peach and Daisy are subjectively the best character in the game, but objectively it's easily Pikachu. It's just that Pikachu is hard to learn, hard to master type of character, but if you can manage that, then Pikachu's easily the best. However, I know some people say, well, any character's hard at any level, and while that's true, I'm just speaking from a subjective standpoint where, like, if a player, right, if a new player wanted to get into a character, then I would think that, you know, if I would recommend a character that's like really good, I would say, well, if you learn how to play these characters, then you've pretty much already mastered them. That's Peach and Daisy. I know some will say that Joker's the best character in the game, but I feel people who say that only say that because they don't know how to edgeguard Joker. Because while his neutral's great, Arsene is strong, and all this sort of stuff, right? When you edgeguard the character, there's not a lot he can do. Tether recoveries, while it's not bad, it's definitely not Byleth range, right? Where Byleth can literally tether from like anywhere across the screen, it feels like sometimes. Or how Byleth can tether against the wall. Joker doesn't have that. Plus, Joker has very janky hitboxes with tether that sometimes, like, you think you'd get it, but you actually don't. Like, you think it hits ledge, but it won't. So, you know, and once you start abusing Joker's recovery, it's pretty clear to me that, like, from what I've seen, people just don't do it, you know? They say Joker's the best, but they only say it because they don't really go off stage against him. That's my point of view. But I do think Joker is a contender for best in the game. But I don't think that you could say he is when, you know, you don't edgeguard him. I edgeguard Jokers all the time. It's not that hard. Because even if he tries to mix up his recovery with delaying with guns, or side B, or even counter in some instances, you just hold the big giant hitbox off stage, and or whatever the case may be, and there's not a lot he can do. So yeah, on stage, a menace. Off stage, you can get by. So yeah, that's my opinion so far on the game. Of course, you can let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you want my thoughts and opinions on characters that I haven't talked about, I've already made previous tier lists. So if you want to watch those, go right ahead. This is just me updating my thoughts as of currently. This has been SabdierZ. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, as I always say. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Peace!
Coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right, baby.